Just getting started with SEO, search engine optimization, as an artist, maker, or small business owner? If so, you are in the right place. In this video, I'm going to share some SEO tips for beginners about links and link building. Quick note. This video series was originally created as part of a beta version of the Badass Creatives Marketing Accelerator. I am moving all of my educational content from that program over here to YouTube so you can watch it for free, but the new version of the Badass Creatives Marketing Accelerator will still include a mentorship, support from me, and a community of other badass creatives, artists, makers, and creative business owners. So if you want to learn more about the program and get on the wait list for when enrollment reopens, head over to badasscreatives.com. Okay, now let's get into the video. So there are two types of links that are important for SEO, internal and external. So internal links are links within our own website. They can help search engines crawl and explore all the different pages of your website. They also let customers explore more of your website, discover more of your products, spend more time on your website, which is ultimately what we want them to do so that they will buy our products, right? So internal links, if you want to think about internal links, think about Wikipedia because they are masters of linking internally. If you have ever gone down a Wikipedia rabbit hole and just 20, 30 minutes and 2 hours later are suddenly like, how did I go from the thing that I started out searching to the thing that I'm reading about now? It's because of internal links. So if you look at this, like there's all of these links in here, they're linking internally to other pages on Wikipedia. You don't have to go to the extreme that Wikipedia does within your own website, but just think about whenever you are adding more information to your website, whether you're building a new product page or you're writing a blog post, what are the other parts of your website? What are the other pages or products that you can link to that you can kind of help other people find the similar relevant information and help the search engines find that similar relevant information or similar product? So internal links can come in the form of text links like we were seeing with the Wikipedia example. Those might be useful for a blog post or an informational page. They might also come in the form of related or recommended products. This is especially important for e-commerce websites. You've probably seen this. A really good example of how this might function is on Amazon. If you are ever on a specific Amazon page, just looking at one product, they're always going to have those, people also bought this, people bought these things together. Those are what we call cross sells and upsells. But when it comes to links, those do function as links. So the cross sells and the upsells have multiple functions. They help you potentially make more money, make more sales, up your average order value, but they also serve as links. So external links are links to or from another website. You can, of course, link to another website when that is relevant and helpful to your visitors and your customers. But what we really want in terms of helping our own SEO is getting external links from other websites. So we also call these backlinks because they point back to us. When we talked about external links, we want to think in terms of high quality, authoritative websites. They are the most valuable. So think about getting a link from a newspaper website or, a magazine website, something like the New York Times or the Huffington Post is going to be much more valuable in terms of search engine optimization than getting a low quality spammy link from some website you've never heard of that has nothing to do with your products that's, based in Russia somewhere, and your website, your products have nothing to do with that. The relevancy of backlinks is also important. Again, speaking to the spammy, other side of the world example that has nothing to do with your website, that's not going to really be helpful. That could even send negative signals to search engines, hanging out in a bad neighborhood of the internet, so to speak. But getting links from websites that are relevant or related to you in some way can be really helpful, whether that's getting a link because you were featured in a gift guide, maybe you make eco-friendly, zero waste products, and some blogger that writes about those types of products features you, does a product review, or mentions you in a gift guide. That kind of relevant link back to your website is going to be really, really helpful. So let's talk about anchor text. This is a specific terminology when it comes to links that's helpful and important to know about. So anchor text is basically The actual text, the words that you're linking, right? If it's in a blog post, if it's in that Wikipedia example, each one of those sets of words that is typically highlighted blue, links are often highlighted blue, that's the anchor text. And so what this looks like, if you are on your website and say that this is a blurb somewhere on your website, our customers love this handmade tote bag for carrying their laptops, books, and essentials. And you see how handmade tote bag is all the slightly different blue color and it's got the underline. So we would think that's a clickable link, right? So handmade tote bag is the anchor text in this example. And I'll show you what this looks like in the back end. So in HTML, you don't really have to know HTML necessarily, but it can be helpful just to kind of understand what you're looking at when you see it. So our customers love this handmade tote bag for carrying their laptops, books, and essentials. And you can see how the words handmade tote bag are wrapped in a HTML link. It links to your website.com/tote bag. So you're linking to the handmade tote bag page of your website. So that's your anchor text. So anchor text is important to think about because Google uses that as a ranking signal. That said, the using exact match anchor text or, always using the words as the text link that you are trying to optimize your entire website around, say that your entire website is around selling handmade tote bags. If you have every single link that says exactly handmade tote bags, handmade tote bags, handmade tote bags, handmade tote bags, everywhere, and that's the only way things are linking to and from your website, that can start to feel a little spammy. This is one of those factors that over the last few decades, definitely some black hat or those spammy SEO people have really taken advantage of. So while it is something that Google pays attention to, be careful not to overemphasize that and use exactly the same anchor text every single time. Mix it up, but just know that using descriptive words in the actual text that you are linking can be helpful, right? Just don't abuse it. So link building is basically the process of trying to get backlinks from other websites, getting those external links back to us. So one way that we can do this is through relevant directory listings. Especially if you happen to have a physical location for your business, you have a brick and mortar shop. Google My Business is an example, Yelp is an example. You might also search for other niche directories. So for example, I've pulled a screenshot of a Black-owned business directory, also a Texas artist directory. So think about possible niches that your work might fall under and pay attention, do some Google search, look around, see if there's any directories that might be a good fit to list your work. This can be helpful from both an SEO perspective because that's starting to build some links back to your website. This is especially helpful if you have a brand new website, you don't have any links back to your website at all. Potentially people are searching these sorts of directories, right? Potentially there are people looking for Black-owned businesses that they want to support, and they might go to a directory like this one. Or maybe there are people who grew up in Texas and are looking for Texas-based artists because they want to support artists from their home state, right? So think about how you might be able to find directories like this that are relevant for your work. Another way to help with link building is to create interesting original content that people kind of naturally just want to share and link to, the things that people want to talk about, share with their friends that are really helpful for them. So here I have a screenshot of a photo for the ultimate guide to conferences for creatives. This is something that I had created a number of years ago. I haven't been keeping it up recently, but so I had this blog post essentially where every year I would update it with all of the different conferences I could find that were for creative people. A lot of these were conferences and events that I had gone to myself, places that I was speaking at, places that I wanted to speak at, places, just conferences that I thought were relevant to people like me. And I created this because when I first got the idea, I was trying to find this information for myself and I was having trouble finding it. And so I realized if I was wanting to find this information, but I was having trouble doing so, other people probably had the same challenge. So I took it upon myself to create a resource for people, essentially. This resource was a lot of work to update because I did update it every single year. I kind of stopped updating it after the pandemic in 2020. I haven't really updated it since. But in the time that I started creating it, between the time that I kind of stopped updating it, which was maybe about 4 or 5 years, this became the #1 traffic driver to my website. It was the most trafficked page on my website. I was getting links and shares. I would see it pop up where people were sharing it on social media. I would have people email and reach out and suggest other conferences to add to this list. It was a really great way for people to find me and my website. I'm not saying you have to go to this extreme and build this huge, huge resource, but that's just an example of the power of creating this kind of resource. This really can be the kind of thing that helps drive traffic and helps expose you to more people. Now, another idea for link building is press, essentially, because press and PR have a lot of advantages, right? We get our work exposed to more people. But when we get that work featured in an online medium, whether it's a blog or an online newspaper, or an online magazine, if we can get a link back from that press, it helps us with search engine optimization. So if you can get featured, you might sometimes need to follow up and ask for a link. I've noticed, especially with newspapers and magazine type websites, sometimes they have their own specifications or guidelines about if they do or don't link to all the places that they mention and feature. Some of them are more lenient than others, but if they mention you and your company by name or one of your products and they don't link, it's always worth a try to follow up and request that they update that mention and link to you as well. They might not always do it, but if you can get that link, especially from a website like a newspaper or a magazine, something authoritative, that website can really help a lot with your search engine optimization.